Hi there, I'm Zammtopia, author of the award-winning book Intuition: Discover the Inner Workings of Our World, and I'm also known as Sarah Zam to my many clients from all over. I'm here today to talk to you about two things. One is, how do you phrase a question when you ask the tarot? And number two is about tarot spreads. So firstly, talking about questions. Usually when you ask, a lot of us would have the temptation to ask a definitive question which is answerable by yes or no. On rare occasions that might help, okay, but I would advise you against it, because if you ask a question which is answerable by yes or no, if you get an answer which is yes, you might be happy, but you don't know the process of what got you to yes. If you have the answer as no, then you might be depressed. And what makes things worse is you don't know the process that got you to the answer no. So it's best and it works well if you actually use an open-ended question. For example, if you're looking for work, you would say, will I get the job? If you have yes, fantastic, right? But then when you get the job, that's just the beginning. Getting the job is not the end. You need to know more about how it will be once you are into the job and doing your role, and how your colleagues might be, challenges that are unforeseen, areas where you can improve on. Those things are omitted when you just have a yes answer. And if you have a no answer, will I get the job? And then you get no. Oftentimes you might take it personally, and then you might lose hope. It will lessen your energy. But then if you ask an open-ended question, the answer could be no, or there's an inclination that you won't be getting the job, but because it's an open-ended question, it could even show you that the reason why you're not getting the job is because there is something else for you. You see, yes and no is really very limiting. That's all I can say about it. So open-ended is much, much better, because you can explore, you can have a bigger perspective in terms of the influencing factors on your answers. And the second part I'd like to talk to you about is the tarot spread. I'm sure you've encountered many articles and maybe even books talking about tarot spreads. There's even one book which introduces you to 365 spreads, one spread for every day of the year. And there's also a deck with many, many different spreads as well. I'm not sure if it's just around 7 to 8. So it's 7 to 8 spreads, one spread a day for 7 to 8 days. That's well and good, but my tip for you is to keep it simple and straightforward. And when you ask a question, when you create your own spread, it is so much better because you become authentic to your needs. You ask what you particularly want to know about, and you get the answer there. For example, our example earlier was about the job, right? How can you phrase a particular question so that you get the answers that you want? So if it's an open-ended question in a tarot spread, maybe you could ask about, okay, I'm applying for work, these are my skills, and these are the requirements of the job. So I'd like to see how my strengths stack up to the role, and I'd like to see how my weaknesses stack up to the role. And I'd like to see elements that I might not be aware of, that I should prepare myself, or just really try to strengthen areas in that part. So those questions are specific, and you only need 3 cards. One for your strength, one for your weakness, and one for the uncertainties. If you say, but I have many strengths, I have many weaknesses, yes, but that's not the point, because you already know your strengths. When you stack it up with the role as well as your weaknesses, it's showing you what you need to focus on. So what particular strength should you highlight? Should you really exploit in performing your role? What would be highlighted as your strength in performing your role? What would be appreciated? And that card will answer it. In terms of the weaknesses, it's the same, what's the weakness when you stack it up with the role? What can I do to improve it? And that one card will tell you everything. Remember, even though it's just a card, there are many elements to a card. You've got the symbolisms, you've got the number, some cards have the title or the name for the cards, you've got the colors, you've got the background. There are many things, and the way that you interpret it is also very important. So it's best to ask the question according to your needs. In that way, you remain authentic and you keep it simple and straightforward, and you don't confuse yourself. I would also advise you not to go beyond 5 cards if you can help it. If you have many questions, then it's just best to keep drawing 1 card at a time to ask these particular questions. Okay, so I hope that helped you, and I'll give you more tips pretty soon. And it's a Friday here, but anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day, and thanks for listening. Until the next time, many blessings. This is Zam.